Should we pour the tequila shots?
Seth Gibson, welcome to the 525 Records podcast.
Thanks, Elliot.
That song you just heard, you recorded that and mixed it.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've heard that.
That was a great Emily Kane.
Yeah, Emily Kane.
Milwaukee's own.
The
song, with a song called Super. You can find it on iTunes, Spotify, everywhere else.
Yeah, there was a trio, and they were some of my wife Chaw's art students, and that was really the first thing that's been recorded at Maple Lane.
The brand new.
Yeah.
Compound Annex.
Songwriter. Singer's name is James Kelly, and he's just an amazing songwriter.
I freaking love that song.
I know. Super, super good hooks, and man, that low end came out pretty good.
Yeah.
The kick drum sounds all right.
I mean, that was before you had any mics or any really decent gear. I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, that was all recorded in the box using the Apollo 8.
I was super jelly because you got a chance to do the big time executive producer job where it's your gear, you're recording everything, you're mixing everything.
Yeah.
They're coming in and playing, and then you got to sit there and mix and do everything post.
I got to mix everything and all the post stuff. I only made a few suggestions though. They really came in and they were pretty tight.
Pretty easy to work with.
Yeah, they'd done their practice, and we just did like 2 passes of each song. And then a couple overdubs of some good guitar solo stuff, and the vocals were overdubbed, of course.
I'm just glad that, there's some kids out there today that still have the fire to play live music and,
yeah,
not
and
electronica.
In my opinion, have good musical taste.
Yeah.
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 They like all the same bands that I do. So.
And they're 30 years younger.
Right.
Well, 525 Records podcast is brought to you today by Casamigos Tequila.
Oh.
In case you didn't know, this is the George Clooney tequila.
Are you sponsored by George Clooney now?
Hold on, let me get that on mic. Oh man, I gotta ISO that. That sounds awesome. We've had a real tequila sampler kind of week. Everything Hornitos. We had Dwayne the Rock Johnson's tequila the other day, which went real quick.
Yeah.
Notes of a smooth vanilla finish. All right, cheers, buddy.
Cheers. Hold on, I can't reach. Thanks, buddy.
Going down. So what was it like
It's pretty smooth.
recording those guys? I mean,
Well,
how many days tracking did you spend?
We did 2 days. The first day, we got all the basics, and I got the feeling or the impression from them that they thought they'd be done already because they were like super rehearsed. I was like, no, you got to come back and do overdubs.
I just love how that's the first record that these guys have done. They're just a young, fresh out of high school band.
Yeah.
First record, no money, just coming over, doing it DIY,
Yeah. I think they'd done some home recordings on their own. And James is actually pretty good at the, I don't know what platform he uses, but he sent me some other demos after I recorded that. And I was like, what do you need me for? These sound pretty good.
You're a big disc golf tournament guy. And there's a crew. What is it? I don't want to butcher it. It's the Jomez crew. Is that it? They do commentary.
I love watching disc golf videos, everybody. So,
and they just had the
mock me all you want to, but I don't play as much as I used to, but I love the sport of disc golf, and I watch all the major tournaments. I know all the professionals. I know the names.
Who just won the Portland Open?
Eagle McMahon.
And that's his real name.
Man, it came down to the wire. Kevin Jones really had a rough hole. And the irony of it was he played it safe. He didn't want to test the out of bounds, so he bailed out to the left for an easy approach. And he put it a little further away than I'm sure he wanted to. But he was just going for par. He wasn't trying to get birdie. And then on his par putt, hits the cage, rolls away, and I think he was safe. And then, so he has to putt again for bogey, hits the cage, rolls, the basket's on a mound. So anytime you don't hit the chains and it goes in the basket, you're in danger of rolling away. So he hits the band, and then it rolls out of bounds. So now he's shooting for 7, and he was the leader. He was up by 2 strokes. And just like that, slipped away from him.
Well, big shout out to the Jomez crew. They do an unbelievable job covering these events. Yeah. The Portland Open, which just happened last weekend while I was up here. I mean, they've got drones. They also have the Roadcaster, the most beautiful piece of equipment ever for doing podcasts. They do
commentary, and their turnaround time is impressive. They're filming 18 holes of disc golf, 2 cameras, sometimes 3, I think, but they have a catch cam and a cam at the tee. And then, so they take all the footage that they capture probably by 6 p.m. I don't know, whenever the round finishes. They edit it all, and they have a crew come in and do commentary, basically watching the edited footage. They also do graphics, like follow flights.
You never see a mess up. You never say a mistake or a post-production flub or editing.
They're solid. They've done a lot for the sport, I think. They revolutionized the coverage of disc golf. And unless it's a Jomez Pro video, I don't really watch it unless it's a player, they're doing something awesome like a highlight.
The best
shot.
They do these biographies, these little bio pieces on the actual golfers.
They've gotten into that.
The music is very Olympic. Like there's a backstory. It's everything. Well, everything is slow mode.
So Jonathan Gomez, his brother, does all the music for them. He composed their theme, it's actually a really catchy song. And not my style of music. It's not something I would seek out to listen to, but it's very relaxing and it. Instantly when you hear that song, you're like, oh, here's a Jomez Pro video. It's pretty impressive stuff.
I mean, some athletes may do squats or bench presses or run 10 miles a day. The best is when they show these guys, they're like stretching out. It's all about the elbow and getting the most you can on a Hyzer. And
Elliot just learned the word Hyzer the other day. He tried to make a drinking game out of it.
What is the opposite of Hyzer? Anti-Hyzer?
Anheuser.
Anheuser. So that's a reverse Hyzer.
Yeah, it's just where you angle the disc. If you're right-handed, everyone knows what a Frisbee does when you throw it. So if you angle it to go to the right instead of naturally to the left, that's called Anheuser.
You think we could get Eagle McMahon on the 525 Records podcast? Yeah.
I mean, if he saw some value in it.
There is no value.
All right. Well, now we've covered disc golf. I mean,
bro, we're just getting started on disc golf.
Is everybody going down lawnmower videos and everything, or? You know who else I like watching though? It's Rick Beato.
Dude, a shame what happened to his channel.
What happened to it?
The DMCA. I mean, they're getting
demonetized.
Everybody. It's just music copyright.
Yeah,
they're fucking.
Not all of his stuff. You know what the thing about him is? He doesn't really make money. A lot. Like I think the majority of his videos are demonetized because, at least the "What Makes a Song Great" videos, because he uses the song. He has the multi-track there, and it's really cool because all these famous songs he goes through and he's like, what makes this song great? What about this song is what people like? And so he'll ISO the vocals and he'll ISO the kick drum and show you the fills and say listen to these guitars and like when they're blended just with the bass and how they interact together. So but because he's playing the band song, all that money's going to the artist. He's not really getting any revenue from his views and all that.
Well, it should be a complete fair use.
His latest video was he finally filed a fair use because he was doing
educational commentary.
It was an educational video, and he was basically, he didn't sing the song, he just played the chords, and I think it was Ramble On. It was Zeppelin, and whoever owns the publication or the publishing rights for that Zeppelin song, someone in the office was like, "Yep, no, we're gonna demonetize this."
If we played Ramble On the podcast right now, Jimmy Page would get a text, and then immediately,
someone would be notified.
Have a cease and desist.
But again, he didn't. All he did was play. He was talking about interesting chord structure and what makes a song not boring, right? And so he used that as an example. He used several other examples in the video. And again, he's just playing the chords. He's not covering it. He's not singing the lyrics, not doing anything. And I think he only filed the fair use dispute because everyone comments, you should do that, Normally he just, I think in some videos he does a rant, like a follow-up video where he rants about this is BS, and this is why, and a lot of them get taken down.
And like the same thing is happening on Twitch right now, where if you have a Twitch stream, whatever game, you have music, it has to be so low in the background, and you have to be talking so continuously. Otherwise, they will just totally...
Yeah.
If they don't nuke the stream, they'll at least block the audio, which is a real pain in the butt.
Can we have some music in the background?
I think we're at this album, we're at kind of a crossroads in our career. Yeah. And so... we'll know within the next 5 or 6 months what the future will be. I could never produce anyone because I don't have the patience for it. I think that's the main thing is who's ever producing or engineering has to have incredible patience just to sit there for hour after hour after hour. You can get up for a while, for a few hours, and split and come back and all that, but he's got to be there all the time. fact, my lawyer made a brilliant speech partway through the trial in which he traced the origin of freedom of speech, and which goes side by side with the origin of drama, actually. The right of a dramatist to, or an artist to state his views without coming under legal pressure. And it was a brilliant summary of that historical process, but it didn't have any effect.
A brilliant summary of that historical process, yet it didn't have any effect. That was Jim Morrison when he had his famous trial. His lawyer made this brilliant summary about the origins of free speech and how you can trace it back to the very early origins of the dramatists.
Was that so the real question is, did Jim Morrison think to say that, or was that just what his lawyer was saying, so that he
No.
remembered and recited that.
No, his lawyer came up with that whole argument, which of course is brilliant, and it makes total logical sense.
Right.
And you would think
But
would hold some
is Jim
sway in a
Morrison
court of
the
law.
genius that would come up with that? Or is he just like regurgitating what he'd heard his defense lawyer saying?
No, come on. Look, only a
Just
lawyer
saying.
can come up with that kind of brilliant.
Those recordings are better than I remember them, E-Train. Good job.
That song was Chandra by the Great Bird Politics.
That was also on the Little Apollo, right?
Fronted by Seth Gibson.
Yeah.
You wrote the song?
I wrote those songs. The first one we heard has been traveling with me for a long time. I wrote that down when I was living in Austin, and I was really proud of it. It was like the first song I was happy with writing in a little while. The demo. I know John hates the ending of Chandra, like because he wasn't doing what he intended at the very end.
Is there anything John doesn't hate?
Well,
what a stupid question.
You motherfucker, you bastard. Got all the sound rights.
The great John Rasmussen.
Can you pull me? Why don't you pour me a little George Clooney there? Give me a Clooney cut, buddy.
The 525 Records podcast brought to you today by Casamigos Tequila Blanco. This is the George Clooney tequila. If you don't know about the celebrity tequila market, it is off the rails right now. Anybody is making their own tequila and then charging exorbitant prices. I mean, we paid so much for this bottle, it should be fucking criminal.
I mean, it's not that. It's $43, which I guess is a lot for that size bottle.
Fucking ridiculous. I'm sure it's just your average run of the mill. I mean, it tastes great. Yeah. It's got notes of a smooth vanilla finish.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
All right, cheers to the 525 Records podcast, Seth Gibson edition, brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Surprisingly smooth.
It's kind of got like a vanilla flavor.
It's got notes of a smooth vanilla finish.
Oh, good job, John.
Well, it's time on the 525 Records podcast for Drunk Dialing on a Wednesday. We're going to call some people, see what happens. We may not get anybody. This is a bit directly ripped off from the Doug Stanhope podcast where they do drunk dialing, but we are drunk dialing on a Wednesday.
Hello?
Alpha.
What a
Seth.
stupid question.
Oh, man. How's it going?
What are you guys doing? I'm sitting in the sun having a cocktail.
What the
Oh,
fuck
man.
is this?
You're live on a
Beat?
podcast right now.
I'm on a podcast right now?
What a stupid
Yeah.
You
question.
tricksters, you.
Do you hear those sound bites?
Is it John?
Yeah.
John the soundbite?
Yeah, John's
Ugh. I look like an ogre, but I got the voice of a fucking angel.
I see a button that you're pushing that's saying that stuff. Is that how this works?
Yeah, Elliot's pushing the buttons and you've got it exactly.
Alpha, welcome to the 525 Records podcast. You are live on the air.
Wow, you caught me at a great time. I'm sitting outside in the sun 3 blocks from the beach with a cocktail.
Oh, wow, that
Awesome.
sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Talk about Seth Gibson a little bit. This is the Seth Gibson episode number 2.
Oh, the ingenue become rock star. Hey, I met Seth when he was a little kid, actually, next door to my house.
True.
He
We were
would come and
neighbors.
spend the summer. Yep, he would come and spend the summer from the East Coast, and all the Gibson boys, all 3 of them would come every summer, and they had a Cocker Spaniel that would hump its soccer ball.
Oh, yeah. Barney.
Yep.
Barney Google.
Barney.
What the fuck
Barney
is
Google.
this?
Mm-hmm. So that was one of the memorable things about the Gibson family was Barney Google.
My most memorable thing was the school bus in your driveway.
Mm-hmm.
And that was pretty
Actually,
amazing.
just wrote an essay about that.
Yeah,
Just wrote a whole essay about that and my dad, actually.
that's awesome.
What is
Yeah.
the scene? What is the scene like over there? What are you doing right now?
And Seaside?
Yeah.
Today I worked on a construction site, and I loaded a huge trailer with probably a couple 1,000 pounds worth of construction debris. It was partially for money, and it was partially because I need a beach bod for Mexico in September.
Where are you going?
So, going to Puerto Vallarta in September.
Ooh, nice.
I'm graduating from college.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah. So then I didn't know Seth very well. So let's get back to Seth for a minute here.
I didn't
know Seth well.
Let's get back to Seth.
Seth well.
Let's get back to Seth real quick.
Yeah, and then I took an adventure with my brother John. John, are you there?
Ugh, what a stupid question.
Is that a button that you're pushing?
John is not here, Alpha. It's just me and E-Train.
Okay, so that's amazing. But we got on a bus to visit Seth's older brother Kyle in Pittsburgh, where he was in art school, and then I brought my Alpha Noise tape. Not to just talk about me the whole time, but I brought it.
I'm glad you mentioned that because 525 Records just released the Alpha Noise album back in December.
I'm getting a huge response. I really appreciate it.
You're actually leading the streaming revenue category. Believe it or not. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you a number because it'll disappoint you, but you are blowing the other artists away.
Hey, I know for a fact that I came to a pool party recently in Portland, and somebody was like, who I've known as an acquaintance for years, was like, I'm just going to say it. Now I'm a super fan. And I was like, what? What's happening?
Alpha Noise.
And I was like, what? And she's like, I heard Alpha Noise. And I was like, what?
Wow.
Yeah, you can hear Alpha Noise on all your favorite streaming platforms, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, wherever music is available. Check it out.
It was a surreal experience, actually. I was like, okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
I think I was out in Portland for a summer. I was like 16. And I think you gave me that little secret about, if you want a bass drum, you just tap on that microphone, Like,
yeah,
boom,
I use
boom,
that trick.
Boom, boom. So a lot of the percussion on my project was probably, biting off yours. I didn't use a lighter for a snare, but, I definitely used that tap on the 57.
Great memory for detail, Seth Gibson. Great memory for detail. John, are you there? John?
Ugh, what a stupid question. What the fuck is this?
John was my graphic designer, and I had a photographer named Lauren Bailey who did the inside photography on the cover, and John took the layout. I had a whole vision of how this cassette should look.
Yeah. Here, listen to this. This is the bass and cigarette lighter snare. Can you hear that?
Yep.
I mean, how awesome is that?
That is the flick of a bit. That's the flick of a bit.
Yeah.
This is home recording at its finest.
Yeah.
I was under the influence of marijuana cigarettes at the time, too. That's where the lighter came into play.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, I'm getting back to my roots. I got a new interface that works with GarageBand, and I'm just going to treat it like a 4-track in the old days. I've also been doing a lot of writing, like just actual writing, essays and writing.
Yeah.
And I want to apply it to lyrics again. And I've got a new energy right now, I feel like. Which
I like it.
Hasn't been there for a long time. Yeah.
I need to get that energy back. I don't feel like I've written a new song in forever.
Seth, you have such an amazing singing voice. You're an amazing guitarist. You were the ingenue become songwriting genius.
Well, thank you.
And I miss the Senators. It's one of my favorite bands that ever existed on planet Earth.
Well, we were just talking about Panka and 3 Pound Universe the other night on the Burr Politics.
Oh yeah, the many names of that band, of that manifestation.
And Freak Freely.
And Freak Freely, 3 Pound Dick was the first variation, but then it was like, me and John are brother and sister in the same band.
So
do we need to call our band 3 Pound Dick?
It wasn't just a joke. That was an actual band name, because that was quite a debate on the other podcast that John seemed to
settle that debate right now. It was a name shortly.
John
lived.
said it was just a joke, and that it was always 3 Pound Universe, and that you guys just said that as a joke.
But we were lit also before Lit became famous, and this is a really a really true story. A really true story is that I met the band Lit.
Oh really?
And as I had still had that. So we had that band name, same band, Panka, but pre-Panka, we were Lit. We loved our band name. Our tape case art theme was Barnum and Bailey Circus tents, engravings on fire. And I would say things like, we're lit and we hope you are too, or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. Dumb things. And we loved our name. We owned our name and we loved it so much. And then we booked a show at Captain Ankeny's downtown Portland. And I had a job that started at 2 a.m. like a weirdo. So it was for the railroad. And I had to be done at midnight, right? I had to finish work by midnight, load up, and be at work at 2 a.m. Very weird time in my life. But so I asked if we could be the opening act, please. No matter how many people we brought, can we please be the opening act? They said yes. We got there and I said, no, you're lit. You're headlining. And I said, nope, we can't headline. We got to switch it up. I got to work tonight. And they were like, no, you're lit from San Francisco, right?
No
and
way.
I was like, no, I don't know who that is.
What a
and they were
stupid
like,
question.
You had the same fucking booking as Lit?
No,
Other Lit?
they thought we were a more famous band.
Right.
They thought we were the other Lit.
But you guys were playing the same show?
No, they thought we were them. So they put us in the headlining slot because they were already getting radio play.
And you're like, can we get our check first, please?
I wish we could have got paid. It turned into a deal. They did put us second. I was late to work. And they said, you have a problem because there's another band with your name and they're getting really famous. They're on the radio. And I was like, what? Oh, my God. And so fast forward now. The night that I was hanging out at a strip club, and I saw Marconi from KNRK, the radio DJ.
I remember that guy.
And yeah, so I had known him. I had known him from the strip club a little bit. So we start running around together, and he says, we have to go to Sassy's tonight. And I go, okay, we'll take a cab to Sassy's. We're getting loaded.
The
and
world famous Sassy's.
Yeah, world famous Sassy's. There's a rope and a cable and some guys sitting behind like a velvet rope, like a VIP area. We go over there and we're hanging out and I'm like, who's this? And he's like, oh, this is the band Lit. They played in town tonight. And I was like, motherfuckers.
What are the odds?
Wow. Is there a fist fight?
I infiltrated their after party.
No way.
Very cleverly.
No way.
Yeah. I went downtown. I went back to their hotel room. They had a suite from the top of, well, I don't know what it is now, but it had a great view and it was a big hotel room. And there was all these people partying. And I was like chatting with the drummer all night. And I think he thought he was flirting with me. And I was getting really loaded. And I said, you know what? You stole my band name when I was wasted, right?
Man.
And he goes, what? Because these guys were older than me. Really, literally, they're older than us by a while. They had been at it for a while, you know. And I'm like, you stole my band name. But my name was this, and you guys stole my name. And he like so schooled me. He was like, you know how hard we've worked? You know how long we played? We've had this name for over 10 years. We played every shitty club. We own this name. It's our name. We're finally getting recognized. And he was like fucking pissed, right? And then he goes, you know who you remind me of? And I was like, who? And he goes, Ali Sheedy from the Breakfast Club crossed with the Bandcamp girl from American Pie.
Oh, no.
Wow. You remember that diss. That's hilarious.
Because it hit real close to home. I was like, I think you kind of nailed it. I'm not going to lie. And now I'm going to leave. And that's a true motherfucking story right there.
Wow. That's amazing.
That was awesome, and it was podcast gold.
It was real. It happened. I hope that whatever his name is from the band Lit actually hears this podcast.
Well,
and it's like, I remember that night.
That will never happen.
For what it's worth, if I had to listen to Lit or Lit, it would be Your Lit.
Seth Gibson, my guest today on the podcast, the current bass player in the band Les Cash.
Oh, yeah.
However, the first bass player was none other than our phone guest, Alpha Rasmussen. I was wondering, Alpha, could you maybe just take us down memory lane as the original first bass player in Les Cash?
Oh, yeah. You know, I think Les Cash was very liberating for both me and John. John there?
Ugh, what a stupid question. What the fuck is this?
Okay, so, so me and John had worked. We have this duo project which has never played live or never really finished any songs, actually, our whole life since we were kids. We spin our wheels and we bounce off each other and we overanalyze and we overwrite and overstructure and cut each other down, build each other up. It's very dramatic brother-sister relationship. And then Mark starts playing the guitar and writing all these songs, like prolifically, like so many songs, like all the time. And me and John realized that we can just be a creative rhythm section for the first time, collaborating together. Because I was always writing with a bass player with John. John's a good writer. John participates in writing actively as a drummer,
He
as you
really
guys know.
does. He really does.
Yeah, he's a writing
He needs
drummer,
publishing credits.
Yeah, he's a writing drummer for sure. But this was just different this time because we could get as detailed and tight, and we have a that kind of psychic connection that happens with siblings with music, where we don't have to talk about things that used to frustrate our bass player Bronson a lot because we wouldn't discuss anything and we would just start making changes without actually verbalizing anything. And Bronson would be like, quit it with your psychic shit. You know, like, you got to clue me into what's happening. So me and John could do this behind Mark, like a palette for Mark to write songs upon, kind of, you know? So it's really a relieving, I don't know how to express it, but just a really freeing, liberating, fun time in that band.
525 Records, the genesis of it was the house that we lived in for a long time. It was 525 Southeast Lincoln Street. They sold it. It was torn down. It is a gravel pit today. And out of its death was rebirthed the 525 Records record label.
The Phoenix rising from the cement parking lot that it is.
As a former resident and a big contributor to that old 525 Records house, I was wondering if you could just take me back and what are some of your favorite memories, if you have any?
Well, I was one of the very first actual roommates there back in the 95, maybe, I want to say. Maybe even earlier, because Jason Lauren and somebody else had moved in. I can't remember who. Jennifer Lewis, maybe, and they couldn't swing that $6.95 rent. You know,
what an arm and a leg.
Arm and a leg back then. So I moved into the dining room, which we know that became sort of the actual living room became the recording studio. The other room, the dining room, kind of became the hang room / control room if you need, isolation or whatever. So I moved in there as a young, I think I turned 21 when I lived there. So, yep, I turned 21 when I lived at 525 first time around. And, there's decades of memory, literally.
It was literally decades, right? I mean, I remember going there as an underage kid with my brother Kyle.
It was decades.
I think Kyle was a roommate there for a while.
Kyle, I mean, who didn't live there is more of a question. It's easier to actually suss out who didn't live there. But I remember. I remember.
Tell me about the party. Do you remember the epic party we had there? I mean, it was just wall-to-wall people. We had a bunch of bands. The cops got called. They shut us down.
That was the Central East Side Industrial District Music Festival.
Okay, well, you promoted the F out of it and somehow had, hundreds of people showing up.
It's called the CEID Music Festival, just to shorten Central East Side Industrial District Music Festival.
The most amazing party that had ever been held at the 525 House, which is really saying a lot. I mean, there was...
Yeah, because it had Rasmussen ideally headlining, and we got to squeeze in 2 songs before the cops really shut it down.
Right. Yeah.
Who
was that?
I think we weren't the headliner. I think we were second to last. We got
no, you guys were headlining. Us Lights played right before you guys.
Us Lights. I was trying to remember their manifestation because they were Brothers Young in different bands.
They absolutely brought the house down. They fucking played so good. They destroyed the place. Then you guys went up after that, and that's when the cops came.
Yeah. You know how many we had a 300 combination of hamburgers and hot dogs. We had food to feed 300
at the
people
house.
There. It was the most epic party that 525 had ever seen.
I wasn't there, so walk me through the macro of it. Was it in a neighborhood party, or was it just something that was had
This
at
was at 525, bleeding over into John's house a little bit, but not much. Everyone was crammed in around the band.
Wall-to-wall people, the entire backyard, basement, living room. You
and
couldn't even walk.
I want to talk about Mike,
one venue.
MX Mike.
525.
MX Mike right now. I want to talk about Mike for a second. Not only is he his own phenomenal musician, so I see someone at that party that I just get a vibe from, and he's sitting on the front porch because he's just kind of not. He's talking to a lot of people, but he doesn't know anybody. But anyway, I see this guy, and I don't like the cut of his jib, so I get Mike because Mike is the motherfucking sleeper. He's the one.
He will choke you the fuck out.
You go to Mike. Because Mike will be able to talk someone out the door or kill them. One of the two. He's just that guy.
He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, he's got those skills.
And a good poker player, from what I understand.
Long story short, I get him, and he susses out the dude, and I'm like, dude, I think this guy doesn't know anybody here, and he's giving me sketchy answers, and I think he needs to go.
Time for a rear naked choke.
Motherfucker. Mike bounced him. He talked him off the porch and talked him away out of hundreds of people, but his vibe was so negative that I was super, super cool with that. Like, Mike, yep, props. Hey, guys, can I leave the podcast now?
You can.
Okay, I gotta go. I'm being rude.
Alpha Rasmussen, thank you.
Crew.
Drunk Dallin on a Wednesday. Thanks for calling in. Or actually, thanks for receiving our call to the 525.
I hope I see you guys in person really soon, like maybe next week or something.
Sounds good.
Maybe Wednesday. Pencil me in for Wednesday, a Wednesday appearance.
You're penciled in.
Okay.
Later.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
Bye.
Love you too.
This is a Seth Gibson podcast. So if you really want to get down and dirty and know the real Seth Gibson, there's a couple things that I want the public to know. Are you ready, E-Train?
Making its second appearance in 2 consecutive episodes because the song is so good. This is Lonely Soldier by the band Panka, fronted by Alpha Rasmussen.
standing in front of the camera right now. Yeah. This is it's a producer's note, you know.
Yo.
Yo.
Cesar, welcome to the 525 Records podcast. You are live on the air right now.
Nice, dude. What's up?
How's it going, man? How you been?
Good, man. Fucking, excuse my technology's not been participating very well with me. So I have these damn earbuds on. So I hope you guys can hear. Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yeah, we are Bluetoothing you through.
Sound pretty clear to me.
A brand new toy
cool.
that I have called a Roadcaster. It lets you pipe in phone calls and do podcasts at the same time. Cesar Aguilar, welcome to the 525 Records podcast. My guest today is Seth Gibson, and he played in a band with you for a little while in Austin, Texas, and you guys know each other pretty well. So inevitably, you came up during the course of our podcast, and we thought, let's do some drunk dialing. Drunk dialing on a Wednesday. Who can we call? So we called you. What's the scene like over there? Describe Austin, Texas today. What was your day like?
Well, dude, you know what? Austin's kind of been like the frickin' Northwest. I mean, what I hear in terms of weather, like the kind of the thinking when you're from somewhere like Texas is that it's always rainy and you guys are always getting rained on in your neck of the woods. And Austin has been that way, man. It's such uncharacteristic weather, man. Basically, all of May was rainy, all of April was rainy, and we have just been kind of overcast for better part of, I would say, 60 days. And then finally, it kind of broke. It kind of broke this week, where it's like finally it's like hot and getting some blue skies and back to the normal frickin' Texas heat, man.
Tell me about the ice storm back in March, or maybe it was February.
Oh, dude.
The entire city was out of power for days and days. I mean, it was a national headline.
Yeah. You know what's funny, man? Anytime I talk about the weather, I think about that REM song that I think they all hated, the Shiny Happy People, where he says, should we talk about the weather? Should we talk about the government? Or something like that. Do you know what song I'm talking about?
I think so, yeah.
Anyway, man, anytime I find myself talking about the weather, I always think about that lyric. I used to make fun of that song. I was like, but inevitably as people, we're going to talk about the weather.
I mean, the entire city of Austin was without power for, days upon end. I mean, where was it for your own predicament? I mean, did you guys lose power? Did you lose water? Was there icicles hanging from the ceiling fan? I mean...
You know what? It's funny, dude. My sister called it. She goes, man, this year has been terrible. It's like COVID. First it was COVID. Now we have snowvid. So, I mean, that kind of gives you a general idea of, dude, it was traumatic, man. It was, Carla and I would say I was kind of on the verge of a little bit of a breakdown just because, first of all, like, we never have gotten down to 2-degree weather. It was like 2 degrees Fahrenheit, and other parts of the country, obviously that's something that they all go through, but it's not common here. So on the first day that it happened, there was all this snow, and I was like, ooh, this is kind of cool, right? It's like it was all this powdery snow. It was awesome. And we're like, we'll be okay. But then, like, the reality started hitting me that, like, we don't have plumbing that can withstand this type of temperature.
Right.
And so Carla's, like, hopping on, like, Reddit and, like, just hearing all over the city that, people's their plumbing pipes are busting, water's leaking through ceilings, homes are getting ruined, and we're like, it just was like this, kind of this just like sense of impending doom,
So what happened
and then
to you guys? I mean, did you guys lose power? Did you lose water? I mean, how bad did it get over there?
Yeah. So on the second day, we had sleet and ice with freezing temperatures, and that's when everything went to shit, dude. Shortly thereafter, we lost water. We might have lost power for just a bit, man. We were really lucky, dude. We were in this little alcove that didn't get hit with a trifecta, where you were like losing water, electricity, and heat. So fortunately for us, we lost water, but we had electricity for the most part, and we had heat because we have a natural gas furnace.
Natural gas saved the day for a lot of people down there.
Yeah, dude.
And
we were straight up. I was straight up melting snow so we could bathe.
Oh, yeah. And,
crazy.
The reports I heard it was very sporadic. Like, depending on what part of Austin you were in was everything. If you were in one part, you'd be totally fucked. And if you were in another part, you were, like, unchanged. It was, really, really, sectored out. But anybody that had natural gas, like, made it through. They had a fireplace, they had a stove. Seemed like...
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, I mean, yeah. But that's the thing. There was reports of some of the gas going out. I mean, it was just to your point. Like, you didn't know what you were going to get hit with. You didn't know whether you were going to get hit with your electricity going out one day, and then your heat going out the next day, and then your water going out the next day. I think for Carl and I, what we decided was, in a situation like that, it's like, so long as we had the heat, we were going to be okay, because we had plenty of snow to melt, and we could light up candles, for light. And, but the heat was like the one thing that was going to be the deal breaker for us. If we lost heat, then we were going to end up in a pretty miserable spot.
And as did a lot of people who were just sitting in their cars, for, an entire night. I think a number of people died sitting in their cars due to carbon monoxide poisoning. I mean, there was really, from what I understand, there was a shortage of electricity, but for the most part, it was the providers that refused to pay the exorbitant prices. To be able
you can say it. I mean, it's a shit show.
A complete
and it's just like
and total shit show.
Yeah, it's like, this is, the pitfalls of like unregulated capitalism, and this is what it does. You know what I mean? It's like,
it's Enron all over again.
Well, it's also like you learn to live with the greed until a situation like this puts a magnifying glass on it, right? And you're like, okay, yeah, so this is, basically we're at these people's mercy. And when the shit hits the fan, when Mother Nature shows you that, like who really runs the show, right? Then, these guys get caught with their pants down, and, and there's a lot of human collateral. There's people dying in their homes simply because we can't plan for shit like this, and they can't get a basic human resource. Like heat in their home.
The cold comes all the way down the wheat belt, it goes all the way down the plains. That's what I remember from living down there anyway. It's like we get the moisture from the Gulf, and then that blast of cold air comes all the way down through, Nebraska and Kansas, and it reaches all the way down. Dallas, I'm sure, got messed up too. It's usually where, like, Austin might be like the outer reaches a lot of times. Like, a lot of times Austin will get that initial cold blast, but for some reason it like stayed over you guys too. I don't know.
Right. Well, dude, to your point, man, there's like a pretty during that storm, there's a pretty what's the word I'm looking for here? Kind of a viral video clip of what I think was probably like anywhere from a 30 to 50 car pileup in Dallas, man. And dude, I mean, it's just, it is just straight brutal, dude. You're just watching these cars one after another. I'm like, oh my God, I had to turn it off because like cars are flying over each other and shit. It's just insane, man. You're like, this looks like a freaking, you know, some kind of action movie that the guy that does the Terminator movie, you know.
I remember that.
Like,
it was national headlines. It was national headlines. Yeah. The same things happened in California in the F5 during fog storms, but basically nobody can see in front. And so it's just a video game apocalyptic car crash where it's just one after the other just keeps crashing in.
Crazy.
No, I don't mean to laugh, dude. That's not the right response, but it just, you know, when you say video, I mean, you kind of look at it and you're just in such disbelief, man, because it's like, holy shit, no way. It's like, all right, that's got to be it. And then now there's another 5 that slam right into it. You're like, holy fuck, how do these guys not see this? You know, how do they not perceive that? But I guess it's just so little time and you're skating on ice, you know?
I mean, can't we all agree that the best way to approach death is by laughing, right? Isn't that the old saying, laugh in the face of death? I mean,
I can get down with that, man. I can get down with that.
Welcome to the 525 Records podcast, where we laugh in the face of death. So what's going on in Austin these days, man? What have you been up to?
Dude, you know, I changed jobs recently. I ran a half marathon.
What? You're a runner?
Yeah, man. The pandemic, quarantine's been good to me, man. You know, in that I knew that, you know, like isolating was not going to work for me. Like this, I mean, I like working from home. I've been able to work from home for the better part of a year. And, but I was like, I'm going to need to do something. And I had been trying to I had been trying to, you know, establish a running routine, and I just kept on getting injured, dude. Like I would injure my calf, I would injure my hip, I would roll an ankle, and it was just like all these injuries, dude. I was like, shit, man, I'm never going to be able to do this. But anyway, long story short, I finally, after months and months of practicing and developing, you know, I've been able to, you know, it's been a good new passion to develop. And, you know, I've been, you know, running some long distances, man. It's been nice.
That's crazy. So a half marathon.
Yeah, I don't know that I could run around the block.
I couldn't
right
run.
now, to be honest with you both.
I couldn't run to the bathroom.
You know what's funny, dude, is that I formed like a little run club down here, and everybody is like, "Nah, man, I don't even think I can do a mile." And everybody that I've taken on the run has done 3 miles with me on their first run.
Pushing through it.
Isn't that crazy?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, dude, it's not even that. It's just this mental thing. That's where that's why this has been so cool, man, because like when you run long distances, man, there's just a lot of self-talk that goes on. I won't be able to do it. Why the fuck am I doing this? This shit sucks. What's the point? Oh my God, my hip hurts. Oh my God, my ankle hurts. And like, you start developing this mental toughness about the whole deal where like, you're like, oh, the pain is temporary. I can always like, you know, stretch or use a foam roller or some kind of massage gun. And just that routine of doing it, man, has been so good I just find a lot of parallels with it.
It's all
long distance running and you know, just life, dude. It sounds corny, man. I'm not trying to be all like cliche and cheesy, but it's just been that for me. It's been cool, man. It's been a cool thing.
We jammed the Beyonder just a little bit ago, Cesar.
Dude.
Man. I was like, is he going to be okay with this? This one he'll be okay with. We were going to put like Elliot started playing a demo iPhone recording. And I was like, I don't know if he's going to be okay with you putting this out, you know? We're going
to play the Beyonder, and then I'm hoping you can do some director DVD commentary.
just like you. On the road to glory, he found a cut through a trail of breadcrumbs for the aimless peasants. You want the kingdom with the golden pension, a makeshift skeleton key, your mausoleum. It's the beyonder. She's just like you. From the shattered hourglass and the decayed wounds, a blue harvest goddess. Walk the steps of her altar with her obsidian blade. She carves out her offering.
Man, all that.
Oh,
Beto was freaking out on that cymbal crash. Koosh, koosh,
And then-
koosh.
And then sometimes he just set back, you know?
Yeah.
Dude,
That song was The Beyonder.
that was a demo.
The band was Spectre
Whatever.
in the Cab.
We never.
My
Like-
guest today on the
Yeah.
podcast is none other than Seth Gibson. On the line with us, luckily, for the 525 Records podcast call-in is the great Cesar Aguilar. You guys did that song together.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, dude. Like 2009, 2010, maybe.
Yeah.
I
Easy,
love-
dude. Easy.
That I first started playing with
Go.
them. They were Spectre in the Cab. It was just, they were a duo, just guitars and just drums, and they were amazing. And then I was lucky enough to start playing bass with them, and coinciding with that was I was training or studying at the Recording Conservatory Austin, and we did a demo, and that was like one of the songs that we had written that was just beyond the 5 Purple Songs EP of The Spectre in the Cab, but before the Haunted Amps. And so it was one of those things that it could have been a song on an album, but it was like it was an in-betweener, you know? It was this...
Cesar,
Yep.
you have a line in that song that absolutely floors me. It's something about you want the kingdom with golden pension.
Right.
Are those the accurate lyrics?
Yeah, you want to my knowledge, I think it says, you want the kingdom with the golden pension.
What does that mean to you, and what inspired you to write that?
What does it mean to you?
I mean, it means the
Good
age-old
answer.
American dream of you want to be president, you want to be CEO, you want the dream to come true, and then you don't have to work ever again. The golden pension.
You know, I think that it could certainly mean that. You know, I like to hear what other people hear. You know what I mean, or what it means to them. You know, it was 10 years ago, 11 years ago, maybe that song was written, and dude, I'm fascinated with words, man, because I think that if you put them together in a certain way, they can have this really kind of, you know, this kind of psychedelic effect on you, where you're like, if you hear them and you like hear them combined with a song, it's like you can't help but feel something that makes you feel like just a little bit different than just being like your everyday human doing your everyday shit. You know what I mean? That's what certain songs have done that to me when I hear a certain lyric combined with, you know, certain instrumentation, and I sit with it, and like I can be taken by it and be like, I don't feel like, I feel something beyond being human. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love your fascination with the interpretation of the listener, because that's the one side of lyric or poetry writing that is like, you know, it's the other half, if you will.
The listener also puts their own experience on your art. Like, look, I can still look back to 8th grade listening to Cat Stevens while reading Lord of the Rings at the same time. And so every time sometimes I hear a Cat Stevens song, and I'm brought back to that place in my life where, you know, everything was magical, you know, before you realize you have to become an adult. And, you know, it's like an imprint. And so sometimes that happens as well. Like when you hear a song, you take what's going on in your life and you kind of, the two are joined, you know?
Yeah, dude. It's so funny that you bring that up, brother, because I was thinking about that kind of time traveling feature of music, right? Where you can hear a song and you can be, you know, transplanted to that time that, you know, that particular song evokes in your memory, or whatever the case may be. And dude, that's a real fucking crazy thing in and of itself, if you think about it, right? Where it's like a song, and I mean, you can be in that experience like as if it was really happening.
Right.
I just love how whenever I ask you about your amazing, mysterious lyrics, you always say, well, what did you hear? You know, I'm always looking for a clarification, and then it becomes, you know, well, what did you hear? What did it mean to you? You know, I think that's what's super cool.
Well, you know, kind of circling back to that though, dude.
Nobody can hear you because you're not on the mic.
Okay, are you saying that to me or somebody else?
No, Cha was chiming in.
Oh, okay.
Hello, Cesar.
Hey, what's up?
Hi, my friend.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good, you know.
It's good to hear your voice always.
Yeah, you as well. I get to see you I get to keep up with Miss Cha through your social media posts and stuff, so I feel like I kind of generally know what's going on, so.
Yeah, I posted some really cool shrinky dink final exams the other day. Those are dope. Do you see those?
I saw that. That's
Fucking
really
hot
cool, man.
shit, right? It's just hot. I was like, damn, you guys. Yeah.
Why can't we have your art students just design the artwork for the albums?
They
And
can. They totally would be.
It's
well,
like free labor.
Yeah.
And you get like a bunch of different interpretations.
Yeah. Well, I
Just be like,
continually.
this is your next art project, kids.
Seth, you know I continually exploit my students on a yearly basis.
Maybe make it an official project. Be like, here's
but
my
here's the thing.
band. Here's the band. Here's their concept. I want you to come up with some graphic design ideas for this band.
We do that. I just don't like anything called official. Like, I'm just like, yeah, it's your idea. You guys came up with it.
Well, it will be their idea.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, that's the key to creative success, is to make the person that is creating it think that they're completely in control when they're not.
Well, I'm sure you have the
just saying, be tricky.
I'm sure you can finesse it.
Yeah.
And you probably have the wisdom and the know-how to make them feel completely like it's their idea and empowered.
Of course, every year, every day, every mind, every heart. You know.
Cool.
Cesar, what you doing? Cool. I miss you.
Yeah, we miss you guys too. I'm glad that we're emerging.
Yeah.
Or at least there's a beginnings of emerging from this,
the catacombs.
Terrible past year. And yeah, I'd love to get out there and see you guys if you guys are cool with it.
Cha, I'm curious to hear what you had to say about the lyrics.
So, I just was like watching, or I was like doing a couple things over in my area of the yard. And I heard that Elliot was asking about, please talk about the depth of the lyrics that y'all, or I didn't know if he was talking about you or Seth, but I wanted to chime in as somebody who's listened to both of, mainly with you, Cesar, the Haunted Amps, but you as a human being for years before that as well, just as a speaker of speaking the language of communication and being pretty hilarious and poignant. And with Seth, who doesn't speak that much, like he's like a kind of quieter speaker, like just both of you guys have a real intensely poetic depth to your writing that is always really great because it's understated. Like it's one of those things where you might just be the type of I know Seth is. I can't speak for you as much because I don't know you as well as I know Seth, but
dude, look, I'm gonna be honest, man. Hearing Beyonder right now, it gave me chills, man. Because
me too.
It's a very transitional time, meaning that it was getting close to be the end of Spectre in the Cab. I think Betha was probably getting close to being on the way out. And I always felt that song, like hearing it now, it's like, I wish that would have been part of our repertoire, because I think that would have been really cool to play live and to continue to develop, you know what I mean?
Right.
And to get it tighter and tighter. Not trying to be, like it gave me kind of like, it made the hair on my arm stand up a little bit as we were listening to it. It's kind of emotional because like, man, that song fucking rocks, dude.
It does rock. And sometimes like the thing that makes my hair on my ear stand up is like not knowing how we did it, Like I know we were in the studio. I know I set up microphones. I know we played. I know like we did tracks. I know we did overdubs, but I just can't put my finger on like how it came to. I know it was your songwriting, baby, and yeah, dude. It's like, how did we do that? That's like the thing that brings the hair up on my arms. It's like not knowing how it came to fruition, not knowing how it came into existence.
Hey, Cesar
and just
and
like,
Seth, I'm sorry, but I have to go cook some cheeseburgers.
Thank you, Cha.
Nice, dude.
That was an excellent question, by the way.
Love you, Cesar.
Yeah, I love you too, Cha. Great to hear from you.
Cesar Aguilar, thank you for calling in to the 525 Records podcast. It's been a pleasure talking to you today and reliving some of the greatest hits of the catalog. Look for Haunted Amps recordings to be out imminently. Spectre in the Cab, man, that is a record that needs to be out there for sure. Thank you for talking to us today. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
You got it, guys. Thanks for having me, man. And y'all take care out there. I look forward to connecting with you guys soon, man.
You know it.
All right. Love you, brother.
Later.
Later, brother. Bye-bye.
Seth Gibson. Seth Gibson.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure talking to you today on the 525 Records podcast. Do you have any closing thoughts? Any last words? Any shots you want to give? Any plugs? You can find.
I just appreciate the grill, and
you can find Seth Gibson and his music all over the internet.
Cut that. I appreciate every opportunity to make music, and I appreciate my family, and I appreciate you, E-Train, for rescuing obscure projects. And
well, I appreciate you for appearing on the 525 Records
I appreciate
podcast.
Cha specifically for cleaning the grill right now.
Don't forget 525records.com. You can find us on social media at 525 Records. Seth Gibson, check him out. He's got a number of amazing albums. Something Like Tragedy is out there on Spotify, iTunes. Check it out. The single "The Prey" is by far the most highly recommended single from the Seth Gibson catalog.
Not by me, though, to be honest.
Well, by me.
Okay.
I'm recommending it as the most highly recommended single.
Just cut me out of that then.
525records.com. Seth Gibson.
Thank you, Elliot.
You got it. Good talking to you. 525 Records podcast. We'll catch you next time.